Greetings, my sunrise and or sunset view enjoyers because of a lovely red sky on a clear night or day. My name is Flare Bliss and we've returned back to our Wonderland. I poke at my eggs watching the yolk run out over the pocked white fluff. It mixes in with the bacon and hash browns like molten yellow lava. Beware of the yellow lava. You do not want it to singe the skin in your mouth. That's like with tomatoes, that can be a thing. I fork off a piece of egg white and stir it slowly in the slope. Then toss a glance at Genzou sitting kitty corner from me at the table and currently stuffing about 5 slices of bacon into his mouth at the same time because he does not know how to eat them one at a time. Forked and knifed as well. "You eating that or create an abstract masterpiece," he says through flicks of crispy char. I grunt something incoherent, then lift the piece of egg in the air and scrutinize it like a laboratory specimen. Let's see, specimen number 2. Not super hungry, I guess. "Yeah, 'cause someone got to hog out with on high-fluting customer balls all evening. Other less fortunate souls at this table had to make do with His Royal Majesty's table scraps. And those are scraps left on the floor for the dogs to eat. You said Mrs. Graham made you hamburger pie." "Yeah, that sounds delicious, actually." Genzou raises a finger, lowers it. "That's besides the point. I'm talking about an unfair disparity here, Iggs. Unfair disparity. Hey, you still had lovely food. Unfortunately, some people out there don't have the luxury of having food, and food shouldn't be considered a luxury in the first place." He pokes his finger into his palm with each syllable. We're seated at one of the tables on the ground floor of the inn. It's mostly empty. Just a few other patrons partaking in their morning refractions. Though Mrs. Graham is making sure everyone stays topped up on coffee and juice, I finally bring the dripping morsel of egg to my mouth, grinding the pulpy whiteness between my back molars. It's at that moment the front door of the inn slams open, and is it going to be Cecile? Is it going to be Gidget? Or is it going to be Orlam? "Good morning!" By the vocabulary and the colour of the text, it's going to be Gidget. I give such a jump that my kneecap whacks against the table and I lose my grip on my fork. It falls to the floor with a clatter. "Gidget, look what you made me do here, okay? I was enjoying my breakfast with my best friend until you decide to come along and allow my breakfast to be spoiled." Ah, different outfit, it would seem. "Why are you still so worried there, Genzou?" Gidget waltzes towards us. Cecile behind her as usual as I scrounge around for it. "You're in a good mood," Genzou muses as he wipes off his mouth. "I'm in a fantastic mood." Gidget takes the seat opposite us with a flourish, resting her chin across her intertwined fingers. She's got a different dress on. A green one this time. That, to me, looks blue, but I'm not too sure. If we're very uncertain, then we'll call it teal, with a matching hat obscuring the blonde crown of her head. And why shouldn't I be? This is a time for celebration, no? Celebration? I ask as my fingers finally wrap around the handle of the fork. I sit back up, look back and forth between Gidget and Cecile, who's standing mostly behind her, his hands behind his back. What for? Gidget's cheeks flush as she turns her gaze downward. "Well, you know, for this and that." "Could you be any more generic, please, Gidget? I would like to be left in the dark for forever." But then seems to snap back, "But mostly to celebrate your arrival." Of course, isn't that reason enough to celebrate? Genzou's arrival as well. He's a champ. She waves her flippant hand back at Cecile. Show him, Cecile! Play the horn of celebration! That sounds like an artifact. Cecile pulls what looks like a rubber car horn out of his pocket and gives it a squeeze with a look of barely constrained self-loathing. It sounds like a dying goose. I'm not laughing at the word dying there. I'm just laughing at Cecile and his lack of enthusiasm. A chunk of bacon drops from Genzou's mouth. Great! Now that that's been decided, let's get going. What do you mean by going? I haven't finished my breakfast yet. Gidget launched herself back up from the table. Hold your goddamn horses there, missy, Genzou says between gulps. Where exactly are we going? He's right. This is all a little, sudden? Try to cut in. The gurgle of unease is back and plain jump over my intestines. Absolutely marvelous. The Gidget in front of me now seems quite a bit more emphatic than the one from the night prior. We only just got here. The Gidget ignores me, donning her sunglasses as she starts to the door. Why? The only place befitting such a grand occasion. Is it going to be the pier? Is it going to be the pier? Yes, it's the pier. We were here last night. I thought you said we could go to the grandest place. Oh, the castle? The castle? Is that your idea of a very good adventure, Gidget? Because I certainly am not in the mood to go to the castle. Can't we just, stay in this village? Orlamless? 5 minutes later sees us on the pier crowded around the ramp leading us to a fabulously ornate sea craft. Holy pure Poseidon. Oh, great. That's what this ship is, huh? We're going in this? Gidget lifts the brim of her hat to gaze up at the good ship. How else do you propose we cross the water? This is my personal yacht, after all. I mean, we could swim there, but... And then with a chuckle, or would you prefer a tiny sailboat for two? No, I prefer the bigger craft. Genzou is a part of our gang after all. There's something about the way she says this that gives me pause, but I ignore it. Instead, squinting as I let my eyes pan the horizon in search for spires. Ix! Genzou hisses next to me. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, Genzou, and I reflect on your hesitation on this. And when I don't turn and look right away, he gives my shirt a tug, jerking me down to his level. Is any of this, I don't know, ringing any alarm bells for you? Yeah, they are. A lot. Oh, come on, Iggs. You've been down here enough times to know that the castle has dangers to it. Not alarm bells, perhaps, but he does have a point. Though the yacht itself is certainly new. The idea of crossing this lake isn't, nor is the thought of what lies beyond it. And I find myself strangely torn between a feeling of homecoming and a feeling of panic-inducing dread. I feel like we don't really have much of a choice. Are you saying that our path is predestined? Like if this is some kind of game, Iggs? Maybe you don't, cause you're gotten yourself all goo-goo-eyed for Miss American... Hey, don't call her that over here. But I've still got at least some of my wits about me. And they're currently screaming at me that if I want to live, I need to about face my ass pronto. Okay, now you're just being a bit dramatic. I think he's not being dramatic enough here. Dramatic? Dramatic? You don't sense what the boner of murder rising to full salute on the other side of that lake? I finally pull myself out of his grip, smoothing down the front of my shirt. Gidget already told me. It's just Orlam. Yeah, it's just Orlam. Guess he holds a lot of parties or something. Yeah, but it doesn't mean he's going to treat us equally here, Iggy. Okay, so a freckled... gosh, even when you're angry, you're still trying to put a pun here. You know, Genzou, because Orlam is freckly, and if he does get one, then it would be freckled. You know what? Let's be on Genzou's side. It is somehow a bit worrying. I get it, I do. I haven't been able to shake the weird feelings since we got here. That, and it feels like, I don't know, everything is pulling us towards that castle, whether we want to go or not. It's a bit worrying. I throw a glance out across the water, squinting against the sun. Right, so, let's just give this one a pass, eh? Maybe chill out here a few days, then pack it up. I've already had my fill of this place anyway. Who needs a magical land of wishes when you've got 2 pounds of your mom's frozen dumplings sitting in your freezer back home, eh? But somehow, despite what I'd said, his words passing one ear and out the next. Are you even listening, Eggs? And already I'm walking away, falling in line behind Cecile, who's hauling 2 giant suitcases up the ramp and onto the boat. I'm sorry, Genzou, but my legs are going on their own. I don't blame... It's such a change of emotions there. I don't blame Genzou for being anxious. I'm already anxious enough for the 2 of us. But I don't want to make Gidget mad. Again, considering how keen she seems on this. Besides, she seems to know what she's doing, and she knows a whole lot more about this place and what's happened to this place than either of us. If anything were to happen, she'd keep us safe. You mean she would keep you safe, Eggs? Safe? That was a weird word to use. Smooth things over. Yeah, that's better. She'd smooth things over, no matter what happened. Iggy, come up here to the front. No, we're not reenacting the Titanic. Almost if on cue I hear Gidget call from the from the far side of the boat. Oh, sure, give me a sec. I make it to the top of the ramp and step onto the deck, taking a moment to get used to the way it bobs ever so slightly beneath my feet. Before continuing, I throw a quick glance at Genzou, who is still just standing at the bottom of the ramp, brows crinkled in concern. He seems to be suffering from some deep-rooted internal conflict, whether to board the boat or not. Finally, however, he grumbles something beneath his breath and scuttles up the ramp after me. I swear I'm gonna regret this. For goodness sakes, Iggy, use your head for once, and not the one down south. I'm only doing this for you, he mutters with a pout. Come on, it'll be fine. I hope. But that last part doesn't quite make it past my tongue, and probably for the better as well. Genzou is not liking this, not for the journey, but for the destination. But at least the boat ride here is smoother, and our beginning of getting on a boat from this point in time is a lot smoother. It's definitely been the most smoothest of the acts so far when it comes to all of the events that have transpired. Like, what's been the most dangerous point in time when it comes to this this act? I would say probably when Cecile was holding his violin out and was waiting for Iggy to say what he's going to say next because he was regarding Cecile at that point in time. It doesn't take long for us to leave port. A few last checks to ensure we're seaworthy. Then the little yacht is slicing through the serene landscape like a knife through butter, leaving nothing but a trail of white surf behind. Soon there's nothing but blue as far as the eye can see. How long till we make it across? I asked Cecile in what to me feels like a perfectly reasonable question. He, however, just glares at me and stomps down the stairs into the yacht's interior. I think his way of saying is, don't you bloody enjoy the journey rather than just think about the destination? I stare at his retreating form in confusion. Was it something I said? No, it's just you, Iggy. Rather than let myself worry too much on this matter, however, I elect instead to explore the yacht. First the upper deck, walking from bow to stern and back again, my hand tracing the railing. Then down inside. And inside looks glamorous. It's larger than I expect, complete with small dining arena, area, a kitchen, a room to lie down in, and a walk-in closet. And fancy too, from the rich mahogany window frames to the marble tables and countertops. On my way back up the steps, I catch what sounds like Cecile talking to Gidget. I really must insist you wear something else. What are you talking about? This is perfect. Iggy will love it. And you do everything he wants, is that it? Cecile, we're not having this conversation. But Cecile does have a point. You have a hypnotic over-obsession with Iggy. I say the word hypnotic because it feels like in some cases, or in a lot of cases with Gidget, her own personality, her personification, she wants to shape it as much as possible to be a version in which makes Iggy happy, rather than making both you and Iggy happy. Like, are you happy with yourself, Gidget? I only want what's best for you. This isn't you. Oh, and you know exactly who I am and what I want now, is that it? That's not what I was implying. I make it to the top of the steps, and both of them turn around. Gidget is wearing... well, I hope she's wearing something. Ah! Gidget is wearing the tiniest swimsuit I've ever seen. Almost until I feel beads of sweat beginning dotting my neck and hairline, because Sister was looking at us with extreme disgust, and a cold snake feeling like it's winding itself up inside my belly. Iggy! Gidget gives a delighted squeal and launches herself towards me. Her arms go around my neck in a hug that squeezes her body against mine. My feeling of cold discomfort increases by about 300%. Exactly 300%. I've measured it out loud. Fortunately, she doesn't stay long. She pulls away instead of spinning around to show off every angle of her immodest swim accoutrements. What do you think? Let's compliment. Let's not focus on the size of the details, okay? You look great. As uncomfortable as I'm feeling, I know I need to say something, even if it's not from the heart. And not just anything. The right thing. Cheeks on fire. What set of cheeks? I bring a hand up to my mouth to mask my look of distress. Great. You look great. Gidget smiles even wider at this, her face beaming. I knew you would think so. Even as I was packing, all I was thinking about was how much you'd love this. And all the other outfits I packed too. You're the only one who appreciates how hard I try. Sesto over there has no idea what he's talking about. I think you don't give him enough credit for giving concern over you, Gidget. I throw a glance at the man in question, who returns with a look of with a glare so full of vitriol. Yeah, we're gonna move on from that one. Gidget ignores this. She grabs my hand and starts pulling me towards the front of the boat. Come on, I was gonna do something, gonna do some sunbathing. Ah, she leads me to the bow of the ship, where a few loungers have already been laid out. Isn't that what's also called the poop deck? I don't know. Then plops down on the nearest one, pulling me down beside her on the flowery cushion. I'm making guesses, by the way. It could be another part of a ship that's also considered the poop deck. It'll be a few hours until we get there. Might as well use it to our advantage, right? Or am I right? No way, only Genzou can say that line. The sun out here is glorious. It's certainly, bright. I still have my face half turned away. My whole body feels like it's burning, and not just from the gleaming rays of the sun, but another source of light that is radiated from Gidget. Oh gosh, we need to make sure you don't get burned though. Gidget laughs and turns to Cecile, her hand outstretched. Cecile! Tessa responds bitterly but obediently, fetching what looks like a bottle of sunscreen from a nearby cafeteria and offering it to Gidget. Here. Gidget smiles shyly, squeezing some out into her hand and rubbing it between her palms. You burn so easily, it's dangerous. She brings her hands to my face, rubbing the lotion across my cheeks, nose, forehead, and chin, then moving down to my neck and collar. I sit there somewhat numb amidst her ministrations, not saying a word, not really able to say a word. The touch itself isn't bad. In fact, it feels quite nice. You better just get started to the theme of touch, boy. Her hands are warm and soft, and the up and down motions lightly kneading my skin are surprisingly calm. When she moves my arms, I actually notice myself starting to enjoy it. I wonder how much of you is going to enjoy it. My eyes flutter closed, relaxing, reassuring. Where's Genzou in all this? Where is he? Maybe I do like touch? Some touch. This kind of soothing touch. Safe touch. In fact, it feels so good that when she finally pulls her hands away, I find myself wanting to whine in displeasure. Wanting to return to that wonderfully tranquilizing cocoon. Until, now you do me! I'm glad we got the context that we're applying sunscreen to one another. My eyes pop back open, and the tendrils of pain begin to sprout in my bowels. What? My voice cracks. I don't want to get burnt either, especially not before tonight. She throws me a wink, then turns around, her back to me, and her hands lifting her hair to reveal her bare back and shoulders. I swallow, glance at Cecil, who continues to simply stare at me in resentment. Then back. I pick up the bottle of sunscreen. My fingers are shaking. Come on, man, you have to do this. Come on. I squirt some out into my palm, slide my fingers through it. My throat feels tight, so goddamn tight to a point I can't swallow. I bring my hands to her shoulder side and begin spreading it around. It's awkward and stilted and bumbling, my fingers jerking the lotion in haphazard streaks across her shoulders, down the length of her back and arms. It's a strange feeling. My fingers running across her skin, feeling her skin. And I'm hyper aware of every single spot, splotch, and blemish decorating the expanse of glistening softness. Is this okay? I managed to ask despite the vice around my voice box. It feels good. I pause then. Do my front too. My voice hitches. Goodness sakes. I close my eyes shut, open them again. God damn it, god damn it, god damn it. Okay. Squirt more into my palms. This is what she wants. This is what I need to do. Need to be able to do. Or else she'll roast like a marshmallow. Take a deep breath. Then reach again for her shoulders, this time letting my hands slide forward. Dipping downward. Across her collarbone. Fingers slick and sliding across her skin. Vision fading at the same time lower. Even softer now. My fingers sinking into it. Sinking into her. The chills are sweeping up and down my body now. Even under the beating sun, I feel so cold my teeth could start chattering any second. Gidget murmurs beneath my touch, and the sound of it jolts me with such force that my fingers dip all the way down into her suit top. I jerk backwards, my fingertips on fire. Goodness sakes, goodness sakes, goodness sakes, goodness sakes. My chest feels like it's caving in on itself. Gidget turns around. A picture, a face of worry. Everything okay? I start before quickly finding out my tongue is turned into a sock. Tell her. You have to say it. But I don't. I can't. I put a hand to my forehead. Make sure not to get your fingers too close to your eyes with sun cream. Fingers pushing back to my clammy bangs. I think maybe the sun is getting to me. Oh no. Gidget's hands go to my cheeks, thumbs forging divots in the skin. It should be cooler downstairs. Maybe go lie down there for a bit. You can rest until we get there. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I stand up with a wobble. Sorry, hope that was good enough. I dip my head in towards my clavar. That word, I don't know how to pronounce that word. Shame searing my cheeks. But I don't know how to finish. So instead I simply turn away, gaze pointed downward as I make a beeline towards the stairs. I don't even notice Genzou until I ram into his shoulder. Sorry. Whoa, hey, everything okay? I don't respond, instead just shaking my head before disappearing downstairs. Genzou's worried gaze on my back the whole way down. The interior is wonderfully cool and dim compared to the sun on deck. I head straight for the back, towards one of the small rooms in the rear that's been furnished with a miniature living room complete with daybed. Once inside, I close the door behind me and collapse face first onto the bed. Goodness sakes. Every nerve in my body still feels electrified, but my chest is finally starting to unclench itself. I give myself a moment before kicking off my shoes and rolling onto my side, arms around my knees. Breathe. Just breathe. I close my eyes, relishing in the quiet, in the darkness of the room. There's a hesitant knock at the door. Iggs? You okay? I can barely hear Genzou's voice. Yeah, I'm fine. Just need to be alone for a little bit. Okay. There's a soft bump, the door giving a little shudder, almost as if he's pressed his forehead against its surface. I'll be here if you need anything. Thanks. It goes quiet. The silence like a heavy blanket draped across my curled form. And I let out a deep breath of air that feels as though it had been stopped up inside my lungs for days. That's right. Everything's fine. You're fine. I let myself uncurl slightly, pressing my face into the pillow. It pokes the frames of my glasses up against the bridge of my nose, so I slide them off with a sigh. My gaze goes to my hands. I can still feel the heat, the softness press up against my fingers. I find myself curling my fingers as though holding a ball. My mouth twitches. I'd never seen Gidget in that little clothing before, and I'd even walked past their advertising to get some pre-warning about it. Never touched her like that before. In fact, until this moment, I'd always thought that Gidget didn't really want to emphasize those parts of herself. Not that there's anything wrong with wanting to do so, of course, but it just never seemed like her. I only want what's best for you. This isn't you. I furrow my brows. I hate them, Iggy. I hate them. Press my lips together. There's a different Gidget talking to us, but it had been raining that day. That's right. A rainy Saturday afternoon. Just hanging out at Gidget's house, watching recorded episodes of Toonami, dueling on our Game Boy Advances, playing half a game of Star Wars Monopoly before getting bored and instead sending the little figures on a secret mission in the basement. As the afternoon goes on, we start dropping off, one by one. First Bucks curled up in Gidget's dad's armchair, then Orlam, his face buried into the couch cushions, and finally even Genzou at first making a joke about using Orlam's spot as a pillow, then actually dozing off there, drool leaking down the side of his face. I'm hungry. You want something to eat, Iggy? Gidget's lying in the middle of the room, just staring up the ceiling amongst the Monopoly pieces. But she sits up at this, tossing a glance in my direction. Okay, sure. Then we're wandering off towards the kitchen. Gidget's dad is seated at the kitchen table, reading the newspaper. And Gidget's mom is cutting out coupons. Gidget opens up a pantry using the step stool to rifle through the selection of snacks on one of the higher shelves. When she reaches up, the hem of her skirt lifts and reveals her belly, as well as the brand of her underwear. Okay. Her mum glances up, her eyes narrow. What the hell are you wearing? This throws Gidget off guard and she immediately falls back on her heels. Huh? But her mum is already to her feet. In 2 steps, she's to her, and she yanks her shirt back up for an... Oh, yeah, shut up for another look. Are those boys' underwear? No, Gidget looks away. Don't lie to me, young lady. Maybe? Gidget's mom lets out an exasperated groan. I thought you were past this phase. When are you gonna grow up? It's not a phase. I like them, Mom. Gidget shouts back, tears springing to her eyes. But now her mum is focused on something else. A little hanging strip of cloth poking out beneath the hem of her shirt. What the hell is this? She lifts Gidget's shirt all the way up, revealing what looks like an ace bandage wrapped around her chest. Gidget jerks back and out of reach with a tearful yelp, tugging her shirt back down. Stop it! You take that off right now. What the hell is wrong with you? Dave, tell her to take her off. She can wear what she wants to, Patty. Why the hell would you wear something like that? I just want to. Leave me alone. You want everyone to think you're some kind of freak? I didn't raise my daughter to be a freak. Well then, Gidget's mum, why don't you look in the mirror right now and see in a behavioural sense of whom the freak might be, or the closer to the equivalent might be. I hate you! Gidget goes running out of the room in a fit of sobs, her arms clenched around her chest. Being put in that situation is extremely uncomforting. I stand there for a moment completely silent, then take off after her. She runs out of the door into the rain. Gidget! I try calling, but she doesn't stop. She runs down the sidewalk, to the end of the block, into the little groove of trees separating her neighborhood from the one over, and I chase after her, my feet slapping against the puddles and sending cold splashes of water up onto my legs. When I finally catch up to her, she's huddled beneath an old oak with her arms wrapped around her knees, mud streaking her shoes and shorts. I walk over, out of breath, then drop to a seat beside her. Damn. I don't say anything, but sometimes you don't need to say anything. Just your presence there is all one needs to know that you're not alone. The rain is lighter in here, sheltered by the trees, but the occasional drop still hits my head, and gooey slick puddles decorate the muddy path. I hate them, Iggy. I hate them, she finally says, barely audible between her knees. I'm not sure what she's talking about at first. Her family, what she wears, or what she's quote-unquote supposed to wear. I bring my own knees to my chest, curling my chin on top. I wish I could just rip them off. Oh? Rip what off? Then my gaze fall. Pitter-patter, pitter-patter. The rain is filling up to a nearby leaf, forming a tiny lake of water at its center. I don't know what to say. What do I say? How can I make her feel better? These types of situations are so confusing to me. Dealing with people is so confusing to me, because Iggs, the computer whiz kid, is much better at dealing with coding than people. Dealing with anything that's not people is simpler than dealing with people. I bite down my lip. I think they're nice? Gidget doesn't say anything. Instead, she pushes her face into her knees harder. I wince. That must have been the wrong thing. Now I really don't know what to do. So rather than screwing something further, I simply smooch towards her, one arm around her shoulders as I huddle up beside her. I stay with her until she stops crying. Our arrival on the other side of the lake is, well, it's something. We pull into the port of a small castle town. My gosh, this does look like something out of England. I can see the glimmering peaks of the castle beyond, because America doesn't know what a castle is. Standing tall and imposing on the horizon, though the town itself is cozy and quaint, and surprisingly empty? Momentarily at least, because as soon as the yacht ramp slams down into the cobbles and Gidget parades out, us following her like some kind of entourage. Castles are really a European thing or a Asian thing. Like other parts around the world, they've not really needed castles as a way of defending themselves or being able to provide a means of comfort for their citizens. A battalion of rabbits appears as if on cue. They come charging forward, primed for attack, then immediately skid to a halt. Ooh. The rabbit in front goes down on one knee, his gaze pointed groundward. Madam. Gidget just lowers her sunglasses, peering out over the top of the lenses. What kind of reception is this? Her hands go to her hips. This seems to rattle the lead rabbit even more. Apologies, madam. We weren't informed that you'd be arriving today, and His Majesty hasn't made any plans for festivities this evening, so we... Rabbit winces. Oh, hasn't he? Gidget's gaze goes back towards the castle, the sun's glinting off her glasses. We'll see about that. Then she tosses an arm out to gesture us and the suitcases behind her. If you would... Of course, madam. Hey. The rabbits hop into action, two of them to the luggage and two of them to Gidget herself, hoisting her up onto their shoulders. The rest of the rabbits fall in line to the front and sides, forming a grand procession as they begin their march towards the castle. I can only stand there with my jaw slack, watching them parade away. There's something you don't see every day. Genzou whistles next to me, his own eyes wide. Is this normal? I asked no one in particular. The mistress is held in high regard. Cecil draws next to me, his face unchanging. Held in high regard? More like worshipped like a false idol. Just what kind of cult-like shenanigans you got going on here? But Cecil ignores him. Let's not dally, gentlemen. Exactly. He shoves his hands in his pockets and takes off after the moving spectacle. The two of us jog after, falling in step at the back of a parade. We march through the streets. We will fight them on the streets. Fight them on the beaches. And we're gonna be rid of these references. Past houses and cafes, a tangling fountain. There's no one else in sight. The roads, buildings, even windows are empty and devoid of life. I can only scratch at my arm nervously as I glance around, and a chance glance at Genzou tells me he's feeling anxious too. We keep going, following the road out of town and up along the path leading towards the castle gates. I see what looks like twin guard posts come into view as we grow nearer. Ah, this side before. The last time we came here, the rabbits picked on us as if we were mere morsels. They sit on either side of the entrance to a bridge that connects to the other side of a moat and the castle gardens beyond. Two rabbits that appeared to be manning the gates rushed to tug them open upon our arrival. Their looks of flustered dread match the rising gurgle in my stomach. Further still, we march straight through the gardens up to the main castle door, giant and imposing and making the hair on the back of my neck stick up like miniature antennaes. Once again, two rabbits are there to open the doors for us, both of them semi-panicked as they scurry into action. They know the magnitude of Gidget around these parts, and instead, I'm overcome with a feeling of confusion. It's an amalgamation of feelings. Awe, First, at the high looping ceilings stained with glass windows and delving tapestries, but then the strangest sense of belonging. I shake my head, tug at my collar. Yes, I was once part of this Orlam Iggy empire on the previous timeline. How could I ever belong in a place like this? Before I twist my bowels further, attention! There's a screech from one of the rabbits, and the whole column pulls their feet together in a crisp salute. I wonder if that lead rabbit is the one that bonks one of the rabbits at the beginning of the Wonderland cycles. The two in front drop to their knees so Gidget can descend to the floor, and she removes her sunglasses to look at the embryons in semi-disdain. A glance to the right, to the left. She crosses her arms over her chest with a huff. You know, I'm starting to feel a little neglected here. But before I have a chance to wonder what she means, well, isn't this a pleasant surprise? Ah, yes, the main man himself. A familiar figure emerges from a far hallway, little cape fluttering behind him. This is also the first time in the game where in the Wonderland 4 more of the 5 are in the same location. The goddess herself returns to my keep, and on her own accord. To what, pray tell, do I owe this honor? Orlam spreads his arms in a show of over-embellished grandeur. The sight of him stops me for a moment, like a tiny hitch in the back of my throat. Next to me, however, I hear Genzou sucking in his breath, and when I turn to look, I see his jaw go taut. At the front of a battalion, Gidget just smiles. Do I ever need a reason to bless this place with my presence? Certainly not, Orlam rubs at his chin. Though had I known, I would have done more to prepare. His gaze flicks towards the 3 of us, and I see his eyes first widen and crinkle in mirth. He brings his folded hands to his cheeks in sardonic delight. And the surprises keep coming. Look who's finally decided to join us. What a treat. Genzou just snorts. I, however, drop my gaze, feeling all of a sudden shy. A treat indeed. My Iggy is now right where he belongs, which calls for a celebration. And what better place to celebrate, wouldn't you agree? Now let's be a man and defend ourselves here. Try to defend yourself. Something about the way she says this sends a ping of something up through my brain. Anxiety stirred with mild pain perhaps, and laced with a shot of indignation. I bring my hand up with a cough. I'm right here, you know. Then immediately goes shy. I can't speak for myself. Orlam's gaze flicks to me. He smiles. Indeed you can, though I'm not sure it would do much good. Your path seems to have already been laid out. Gidget rolls her eyes. Don't mind him. A bit under the weather is all after that jaunt on the boat. It's made him a little tasty. Tasty? I stand up with a start. Orlam just laughs. Water travel isn't fit for everyone, I suppose. A bit too rough for some. Just goodness sakes. Gidget, you're not helping here. Makes it more exciting. Oh, then it seems you'll need to teach your boy to swim. Gidget brings her hand to her mouth with a bashful laugh. I, however, can do nothing but blink in silence. Are they? Fortunately, the conversation returns to its original topic. At any rate, as much as it pains me, I haven't made plans for any entertainment this evening. So it looks like you all have to make your own entertainment, whatever that would be. He begins counting on his fingers. I would need to alert the chef, send out invitations, rally the tailors to ready some appropriate assembles for our new guests. But he trails off as Gidget approaches, blinking upward. But you wouldn't mind doing all that for me, would you? She takes his chin in her hands. thumbs pressing teasingly into his cheeks. Great. Goodness sakes. For the second time that day, my jaws go slack. Why is Orlam like a puppy about to eat something? Orlam practically melts in her grip, gaze wandering not at all stealthily from the eye-level placement of her chest up to her sweetly cooing lips. He lets out a throaty growl, tongue lolling out of his mouth. Next to me, Genzou makes the sign of a cross in front of his chest. and obviously, Cecil, his expression is unchanging. I take back my wish, but some things in life that should have been seen. Where are my sunglasses? Come on, just one little party. It would mean so much to me. Gidget traces her finger down to the collar of his shirt and gives it a tug. Come on now. I suppose I could make an exception this once. Orlam leans in towards her chest. Great. Only for her to step away abruptly, knees sending him to the ground. Excellent, she says, fixing her dress and hat. Besides, I brought Cecil. I know how much you enjoyed him last time. Orlam coughs and straightens up, wiping off his chin. His gaze flicks to Cecil. Ah, yes. The Lashkavas grin returns as he brings the tips of his fingers together. I did indeed. How could I forget a man so gifted? Genzou and I throw identical curious glances at Cecil, who for once isn't boasting his usual impassive visage. Instead is looking away, shoulders hunched and cheeks colored pink. What could have happened? Now then, I must clean up. It's been a long, tiring day on that boat, and I want to look my best tonight. Of course, of course. Guards! Orlam snaps his fingers, summoning a duo of attendants to his side. Ready the baths for her ladyship, would you? And do make sure she has everything she needs. Yes, sir. The attendants lead her off and down the hall, leaving us alone with Orlam and the rest of the battalion. Orlam watches her leave, small chuckle playing on his lips as he turns back to us. Iggy, Iggy, Iggy. He cocks his head to the side and begins slinking over. What have you gotten yourself into? But Genzou steps in front of me before Orlam can approach. Leave him alone, blank face. I'll knock that fugly crown right off that rat on your head. This only seems to goad Orlam further. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Genzou. Look at you, still so determined, even after the cruel cogs of fate have already turned out of your favor. What the hell are you talking about? Nothing, dear. Only that I'm suddenly feeling especially nostalgic. What about you? I see Genzou grit his teeth. He takes a step forward, finger raised. But Orlam snaps his fingers before Genzou can start whatever he's been about to do. Guards! Genzou winces, falling back with a nervous twitch of his cheek. Get these two gentlemen cleaned up, would you? And fetch the tailor. They'll need something to wear after all, and I want everyone looking their best for tonight's festivities. Yes, sir! The guards nearest us snap to attention, then quickly prod us into gear, hands on our shoulders as they guide us towards the far hall. Behind us, Orlam simply waves, impish smile playing on his lips. See you both later. Whether we're in the same destination or two different destinations, because Iggy is with Gidget and Genzou is unfortunately trapped somewheres. I got separated from Genzou at some point. One moment we're walking behind a set of attendants down a wide hall lined with stained glass windows, and the next another attendant appears and leads Genzou away down a different corridor. All I could do is shoot him a look of confusion as my own attendants usher me further along the red carpet and towards an ornately marbled atrium. Ah, yes, familiar sightings. I'm taken into a small bathroom where another attendant awaits and proceeds to start tugging me out of my clothes the moment I step in. This is even more uncomfortable and unnerving as when we was on the ship. What the hell? But my flustered confusion is paid no heed. I'm pushed unceremoniously into an already filled tub, my feet seeping out from under me and sending my whole body straight under the water in exodus of bubbles. I barely have time to catch my breath before, with a subsequent yank, I'm pulled back up and taken to with a sponge. Is this really necessary? I sputtered between winces. My rabbit attendant is really going to town with the scrubbing. I'll be surprised if I even have skin after this. Yes. Yes, you are stained. And the only way to remove your stains is to unskin you. To add to my embarrassment, a whole flurry of other attendants continue to enter and exit the room preparing who knows what. I feel my cheeks burn as I attempt to curl forward and hide myself. But a tug from behind makes even this impossible. I'm yanked backwards as another attendant with a tape measure begins taking my measurements, even as the first continues scoring my legs, At some point, I'm simply close my eyes, focus on nothing but my breath and willing this unfortunate experience to end rapidly. Nah, this is going to be slow and painful. Once the scrub down is over, I'm extricated from the water and toweled off in a series of fierce attacks to my extremities. Before finally I'm given a robe to clothe myself in and laid to an oversized vanity piled high with all manner of grooming amenities. There my curls are brushed, dried, and shellacked in a manner so thorough you'd think I was being prepared for dinner with the Pope himself. Nope, something even more important than that, Iggy. You are being prepared for dinner with Gidget. By the time the assault on my follicles is over, the attendant who'd measured me has returned, this time carrying what looks like a pressed black suit over his arm. Wait, is this for me? How the hell did you all do this so quickly? His Majesty's functions enforce a strict dress code. The only time it's not so strict is when guests arrive for the first time. Dress code? But this is all the information I've apparently been deigned to receive. I'm pushed to my feet, robed of my robe, then forcibly fitted into the confines of my new formal attire. It fits around my body like a glove, all crisp plouts and smooth swaths of expensive-feeling fabric that makes me feel both overwhelmed and baronial at the same time. Now, if you would follow me. My attendant begins ushering me towards the door. Wait, already? Can't I get a moment? I'm feeling it all. I bring a hand to my still racing head. This has been one too many rapid-fire assailments on my already fragile psyche. What I would do for even 5 minutes to myself. For 5 minutes! But such considerations are not on the table, it seems, or on the counter. Even as I'm attempting to loosen the choking grip of the tie around my neck, I'm being prodded out the door and into the hall. Then down we go, back through the corridors of towering gold and down the staircase leading to the foyer. My perfectly shined shoes seem to echo especially loud on the marble stairs with each step. Genzou's already waiting at the bottom as I approach, and he's probably going to share a similar kind of scenario. He's got his hands shoved in his suit pockets and is staring at the ground, idly scuffing the tile with the toe of his shoe. But he looks up upon my arrival. Wow. God, you looking good, my man. I see him blink. Then his eyes widen. He brings a hand to his mouth and jerks his head away. What's wrong? I tug again my collar, feeling all of a sudden self-conscious. I guess you got the same treatment as me? He wipes at his face, seems to be collecting himself. Nothing? You look great, is all. Damn, eggs, you do clean up nice. This makes me stand up straight, and I feel a weird sort of heat twisting coil itself in my belly. Not altogether dissimilar to the coiling tendrils of discomfitry I've been feeling around Gidget lately. Speaking of Gidget, I don't think Gidget has had a single conversation with Genzou at all in this entire act. Like, it feels like with Gidget, it's been incredibly one-dimensional with her, where she's either been talking with Iggy or at times Cecile, but I don't remember one time when Gidget has asked Genzou about how he's doing. But all the same, Genzou at some point has been talking to Gidget, but Gidget hasn't returned that because of Gidget's hyper over-obsession with Iggy. I quickly turn the conversation away from myself. You don't look so bad yourself, I give him a glance over. Damn, somehow this takes me back though. When was the last time we got all gussied up like this? The side of Genzou's mouth twitches, and for a moment I see his eyes darken. He looks away. Yeah. One of the attendants behind us clears his throat. Shall we move along? Oh, right. Then we're on the move again, this time towards a large atrium to our right. Atrium. There's a grand set of doors at the far end as we approach I hear the sound of music grow louder and louder. All litting violins and tinkling glasses. Two attendants manning the door push it open upon our approach. It creaks, groans, and then parts, letting in the light and the gilts and the dulcet aria dancing across the air. Presenting Ignatius Walter Maxwell and Genzou Ichihara. I instinctively shrink in on myself, sorry. Do they really need to say my whole name like that? Yes. My cheeks feel about 100 degrees hotter and already driblets of sweat are working down my freshly clean neck. The size of a ballroom doesn't help. It's absolutely enormous and bright. So bloody bright. Every single inch of it gleams with gold and silver. Glittering 12-tier chandeliers hanging from the ceiling and emotive string quartet striking at their instruments in the corner. And the people, there's so many of them, all dressed to the nines with gorgeous dresses and dashing tuxedos. And upon our triumphant entrance, every single pair of eyes turns straight towards us, including a pair of Gidgets. I really want to disappear inside the collar of my suit. This is too much. Way too much. Already I can feel my chest grow tight, fuzzy dots dancing across my eyes. Come along now. One of the attendants prods me forward, but my legs feel like they're made of jelly and they refuse to move. I think I need a minute. My breath is coming out faster and faster. Ugh, I'm gonna pass out until Genzou's hands find my shoulder. The feeling of it grounds me. My breath begins to slow, wobbling vision fizzling into clarity. I turn towards him with a belligerent grimace, and he just smiles, giving my shoulder a squeeze. Hey, I'm right here. I tug at my collar. I'm feeling unbelievably sweaty, but I shake my head, take a deep breath, and allow the attendants to lead us forward further into the room. Once beneath one of the larger chandeliers adorning the ceiling, our attendants retreat with a bow, leaving the two of us alone amongst the bustling, whispering crowds. Champagne? A waiter appears seemingly out of nowhere, offering a tray of champagne flutes. Genzou practically launched himself at the tray. He downs one in about 5 seconds flat, then waits for me to take one before grabbing another. He's looking strangely anxious, almost as if waiting for something bad to happen. But before I can ask him about it, I feel a tingle on the back of my neck. A tingle, you say? Enjoying yourselves, gentlemen? I spin around to find Orlam only a few paces behind us, the same grin from earlier on his lips, as though it had never left. He's also donned new attire, now in a sleek white suit that might as well be molded to his body. We were until you showed up looking like a cream-coloured don in a crown. Did you pay for all those people to be here? Orlam's eyes twitches, but he never loses his smile. Oh, how I have missed that mouth of yours. He throws his hands out to his sides, but alas, no, people already respect me here, as foreign of a concept as that may be to you. They certainly seem to like you. I thought a hesitant glance around the room at the bustling crowd. A number of the nearest ones are throwing furtive glances at Orlam's direction and whispering none too discreetly amongst themselves. They certainly seem to, like you. Oh yes, you could say they're dying to be here. Now it's my turn for my eye to twitch. Orlam oozes over. Yes. But don't you two look nice? My tailors did a fantastic job. He reaches up to fix my collar, now amused from all my nervous tugging, then gives my cheeks a series of quick pats. I could gobble both of you up right now. Next to us, Genzou clears his throat loudly. Orlam steps back from me with a grin. Ah, is someone feeling neglected? His gaze shoots to Genzou's now empty glass. Yes, my glass is neglected of substance. He snaps his finger. Waiter! Get this man another drink, would you? We all know how much he loves to indulge. Genzou's empty glasses swish out to a full one so quickly. Genzou actually takes a startled step backwards, right into Orlam's arms. Orlam's smile widens and he gives Genzou's shoulder a squeeze. Perfect. I do so like to ensure you have everything you need. Get off me! Genzou grimaces and tugs himself away. But he's looking anxious again. That same tightness around his eyes I'd seen before when getting on the boat, and when we first entered the castle. Orlam just laughs, then stops, tilts his head up with a hand to his ear. Oh look, they're preparing for a dance number. He flicks his gaze towards us. I trust you two will dance. My back straightens on instinct, muscles tightening with an uncomfortable shiver. Next to me, Genzou looks similarly vexed. We would never. No? A pity. I suppose you wouldn't mind then, would you? He continues, bites down on his lip in anticipation as he grabs my hands and pulls me towards him. I can only shoot Genzou a look of panicked confusion as Orlam tugs my hips in against his. In a grand flourish, he sweeps me almost literally off my feet in time with the brisk tempo of the music, and his fingers curl between mine with a possessive tug. Same as last time, really. Hey, I can barely keep up. Where's Gidget in all this? It takes everything I have, simply keeping my balance as my feet attempt to move in time with the beat. And I must look absolutely terrified because Orlam gives my hand a reassuring squeeze, his head cocking to the side in amusement. Do relax. You look like a spooked field rabbit. He can hardly seem to contain his grin. This is all a bit much for me. Yes, it would be, wouldn't it? You've never been one to revel in the attention of others, while I love it. He cocks his head to the other side, and yet said attention always seems to find you anyway. Quite curious, actually. Why is it that so many people are champing at a bit of a bite? As if my head weren't already well enough, he sends me out for a spin that leaves me positively rattled, then jerks me back in close. What are you talking about? I try, even as my insides curl and twist like a slinky. Ah, yes, I forgot. Oblivious to a fault, this one. Though perhaps that only adds to your endearing qualities. His hand wanders lower, everyone being the one who wants to teach. He finds my rear end, putting it... My gosh, he really did, didn't he? Putting it in towards him with a shudder tug. You a fiend or two. At this, however, his gaze flicks to Genzou, who's positively bristling. And when Orlam starts pushing his face up against my neck with a libidinous meal, he comes stomping over. Oh dear. Okay, that's enough. Enough? Whatever do you mean? You've made your point. But I'm having so much fun, Genzou dear. Genzou's face goes red, and I see him grind his teeth together. Yes, positively grinding. I was supposed to say grinning there. He grabs Orlam's shoulder with an angry yank. Oh, I see. You're jealous. Orlam just laughs, using the momentum to spin in towards Genzou's instead, promptly grabbing his hand. Don't worry. There's enough of me for everyone. This is not a sight that I would imagine in our Wonderland. Poor Genzou. Genzou blanches, stumbling over his feet as Orlam sweeps him up into the music. Ah, yes, this is nice, isn't it? Just the two of us, enjoying a moment. It has been so long since we've been this close. Orlam? Genzou looks 50 shades of uncomfortable, and I can see the glimmer of sweat along his hairline. You know, I've been thinking about you a lot since my arrival, how I would welcome you, what you'd think about my accomplishments. Genzou forces a somewhat belligerent smile. Accomplishments? What? We congratulating people for having stuff fall into their laps now? As contentious as always. Just because you failed in your endeavors doesn't mean you need to devalue mine. What the hell is that supposed to mean? I haven't failed anything. Exactly. You tell him, Genzou. Haven't you? Orlam pulls him in close. Grins so wide he looks about ready to devour him whole. I suppose denial would be nothing new for you. Genzou snorts. At least I don't take advantage of others when they're at their weakest. No, you're just an a-hole all the time, aren't you? Orlam lowers his eyes. And you know it too. Know the pain you cause people, and that he deserves better than you. How dare you try and assume that we have standards, okay? My standards are on the bottom of the ocean, okay? Genzou's jaw goes taut. Ooh, I wonder if there's going to be a punch here in the near future. He mutters something under his breath and tries to pull away, but Orlam doesn't let his hand go, instead taking advantage of the small height he has on him to dip him backwards. And yet you still can't let him go, can you? Just a stupid, sad little puppy groveling for scraps. He leans forward, their foreheads practically touching. Genzou jerks his head away, still trying to extricate himself from Orlam's grasp. Orlam finally does let him go, though none too gently. In fact, the sudden release sends him straight to the floor. Orlam stands over him, amused grin playing on his lips as Genzou recovers from a fall. His eyes crinkle into tiny twin slits. But you still have one last chance. Or are you going to run away from that too? This time, Orlam turns to me. He grabs my wrist, flinging me towards Genzou's just as he manages to push himself back to his feet. I stumble into him, half falling across his shoulders, and Genzou's eyes practically bug out of his head. Before I can move away, Orlam grabs Genzou's flailing arms and pulls him in close, squishing me between them. This is what we call an Iggy sandwich. Isn't this sweet? A tarantella for 3, and fitting too, considering how we've been dancing around each other for years. Genzou has gone bright red beneath me. I can feel myself sinking in against his stomach, my arms balanced on his shoulder and my breath stilted against his neck. For just a second, my mind flicks back to the bouncy castle. The two of us all tangled up atop the boing fabric, pressed against each other, turned against each other. But we were all equals back then in some way, shape or form. But now it's like Orlam is the head of the hierarchy here. Then Orlam lets Genzou's arms go, stepping back with a playful grin. Thanks. Alas, though, I cannot say, for I have other important matters to attend to. Other guests to take care of. So I'll have to bid you gentlemen adios for now. He gives a little bow that makes his cape flutter out behind him. Try not to have too much fun without me, One final grin, then he spins around, eyes on the crowd on here as he saunters away. The two of us watch him for a moment. Then Genzou must notice that his arms have fallen around my waist, because he jerks backwards with a fluttered start, his cheeks still pink. I probably don't look much better. It feels like gallons of sweat are leaking down the back of my neck, and my suit is now a wrinkled mess. I try to smooth it down, gaze pointed groundward. That was, something else. You can say that again. Genzou coughs, shifts, runs a hand through his hair. I force a laugh. I mean, Orlam has always been a bit of an odd duck, but that was beyond anything I could have expected. This place must really be going to his head. Did you want to dance? Genzou practically spits it out, cutting me mid-off section. And when I look up in confusion, he has his gaze securely pointed at my feet, his hands curled into fists at his side. The weird twist in my stomach is back, the same one from back when we entered the ballroom. It sends whirl gigs of nervousness up through my chest. I mean, if you want to, is all. He looks up, then back down. So long as we're here and all. Sure, I guess. He coughs again, holds out his hands, and I reciprocate clumsily. Our arms bumping against each other as we both try to determine where to put our free hand. Not in a pocket somewhere. Finally, he goes to my waist as I take his shoulder. Easier that way considering our height difference, I suppose. Then we start. Damn. But even then, it's nowhere near the smooth fluidity Orlam had provided in our earlier cavorting. Oh dear. More like two kids at their first school dance. We both don't really know how to dance after all. The averted eye contact only adds to a portrait of awkwardness. This is a bit weird. Why are we doing this? Friends don't dance like this. Almost said die there. With Orlam, it had been like just him, but like this feels foreign, different, especially considering the way he refuses to look at me. The way I can feel his hand trembling ever so slightly on my hip. The way he has his lips pressed together. Wait a minute. I blink. But before my mind can process this further, he speaks up. Pretty nice, music. Yeah, it is. I have to admit, feels pretty wriggle, you know, with all this high fluttering, grandstanding stuff, he chuckles. Not something I would have ever expected to experience, you know? There we go, a smile, even though it looks kind of forced. You can say that again. I feel like the long-lost son of some fancy baron or something. His gaze drops again. He seems to be searching for something to say. Come on, Genzou, my man. Wonder where Gidget is. Haven't seen her here yet, sorry. I see Genzou's eyes twitch ever so slightly. She's, on your mind a lot, huh? I mean, of course she would be. Why wouldn't she? Am I right? Or am I right? Probably gonna be dressed to the nines, if you know what I mean. Putting us two blankers to shame. I don't doubt that. Especially after everything else I've seen her... Yeah, you cut yourself halfway there, didn't you? Then quickly choking my words. My mind had gone straight back to a bolt. Definitely not what I need to be thinking about right now. Genzou must feel my body tense. Yeah. He starts, I suppose, trying to search for something to say. It's pretty crazy, you know, yeah? Gidget, I mean. How so? Just, you know, like I haven't seen her in years, right? And I almost didn't even recognize her. Crazy, right? She looks so different. I drop my gaze. I guess she has changed a lot over the years. Right. Hell, if you'd asked me back then, I would have probably said she was... He stops, perhaps realizing what he's about to say, then frowns. Yeah. Do not public shame people, please. Anyway, just not what I was expecting, I guess. But hey, when have I ever been able to read people, huh? I've got the social perception of a stick. You? Mr. Life of a Party? Fake it till you make it, my dude. Don't think a dirty joke would be appropriate, even though that's kind of up Genzou's alley, but in this scenario, I don't think that's really that appropriate. You were faking it pretty good with Orlam, huh? I say with a smirk. Yeah, that was a wrong decision, wasn't it? I see Genzou's pupils dilate and his fingers shift between mine nervously. What do you mean by that? Earlier, I mean with the dancing and everything. Faking those twinkle toes and everything, because there's only the two of us now. Either that or it's just maybe I bring out the worst dancing in people. Oh, of course, right. Genzou forced a chuckle. We selected wrong there. Why? What do you think I was talking about? Nothing. Just head still racing like a racehorse, I guess. Eyes a brow, but carry on anyway. Come to think of it, that's the closest I've seen you two in years. Yeah, and it's going to take me just as many years to wash the stink off myself too. I don't know, you were kind of cute. My lips curl upward playfully. Genzou makes a face. Gag me with a wooden spoon. I've got some standards, you know, Eggs. All the alcohol in the world couldn't make me stoop to that. But he doesn't finish his sentence. Instead, just staring at my shoulder as though he'd like to bore right through it. I watch it for a few moments. What? I sprout a second head or something? His mouth twitches. Nah, just damn it's hot in here. Are you hot? Sweating in places I didn't even know I had over here. I shake my head with a chuckle. You know, maybe you should lay off the champagne for the rest of the night, huh? That champagne is the only thing getting me through this godforsaken hellhole. Alright. I give his hand a little squeeze for reassurance. but I can't tell if it helps to calm him or just makes it worse. I see him lower his gaze, then raise it, his hand shifting against my hip. His nose twitches. Despite everything, this has been nice, you know. Getting to spend time with you for once. Yeah, we haven't really done much together in a while. Yeah, I feel his fingers shifting between mine. His hand feels sweaty. I like spending time with you. I cock my head to the side, the nervous jitters are attacking my gut en masse now. I try to quell them with a laugh. I like spending time with you too. You're my friend again. I see him wince. His brows furrow. No, He starts moving. He looks really distressed. And I remember he's also had at least 3 glasses of champagne at this point. He brings a hand to his forehead and I can see his fingers shaking. Gen, what's wrong? You're acting super weird. You're his best friend, you know, Iggs. There's also that fan game as well where we text the ultra high popular school kids. I've forgotten the exact name of it, but we played it before playing Our Wonderland. And that was a fan game of Our Wonderland made by the same individual. Same people, same person, however you want to call it. Let's move on, okay? He looks up at me, eyes strained. Oh, only at that moment, a loud flourish of metal and strings cuts through the dim and the lights go suddenly dim. The crowd gasps and I throw a confused look around just as a beam of light is directed towards the door, illuminating a head of cascading blonde hair, and I think we know what that blonde hair is, but I will allow for you, my dear viewers, to ponder who the identity of said cascading blonde hair is. I'm going to give you the answer as Gidget, but I'm going to let you ponder for a moment. Ponder until the next time of Our Wonderland, Act 4. When it comes to the very heavy subjects that are presented in this arc, I feel like that all of them will be applied to the next video. I just feel that somehow that all of the subject warnings about arc 4 are going to arc themselves in the next time around when we get to play it. Let me know what you think about Our Wonderland so far, and also as well, just for personal reasons, because I do want to play this game again in my spare time, but where's the skip button for this game? Because is it S? I don't think so, but I don't want to try it out just in case if skipping is auto turned off for unread dialogue. Thank you so much for watching and take care of yourselves, everyone.